What's going on, Battlefielders, and welcome back to another episode of my Battlefield 4 weapon reviews. In this series so far I've took a look at various assault rifles and carbines, but this time I quite fancied taking a look at one of the bullpup rifles to see how that trait of higher accuracy benefited my performance compared to the standard rifle layout. So the weapon I've picked out for today's feature is the AUG A3, otherwise known in the community as the AUG. And as you can see by the diagram of this weapon, it's designed in a bullpup configuration, which means the magazine and the whole action is behind the trigger setup, as opposed to the usual layout where you find the magazine and the action further forwards on the weapon. The main benefit of this is that the barrel starts further back in the weapon, which means you can get away with a shorter overall length of weapon. And a shorter weapon just basically means better mobility while retaining the accuracy of a full-size rifle. Bullpup rifle configurations do come along with some disadvantages though. Having that magazine behind the main grip does result in some ergonomic issues, where it's a little bit more difficult to remove and insert a mag that's closer to your body as opposed to one that's further down the weapon. These characteristics are kind of replicated in Battlefield 4. We do find that bullpup rifles tend to have longer reload times, and to give a nod to the mobility and accuracy benefits of a bullpup design, you'll find that the stats of the weapon are as punishing when firing while on the move, meaning that your ADS spread while moving is slightly lower at 0.8 as opposed to 1, which basically means that your bullet's going to land in tighter groupings as opposed to a weapon with a traditional layout. We all know that you get the best accuracy while standing still in Battlefield, but let's face it, when you're actually standing completely still when using an assault rifle, carbine or a PDW, realistically the only time you're going to be completely stationary is when you're using a sniper rifle or deployed with an LMG. So being a bullpup configuration is a huge plus already, but let's get on and take a look at the rest of the stats for the AUG A3. Being an assault rifle, damage figures come in at the usual 25, dropping off to 18, which results in a 426 shot to kill. The rate of fire is pretty average, 700 rounds per minute is an acceptable fire rate. It's not going to drop people crazily fast, but it's not going to be so slow that you find yourself being outgunned in close range encounters. One stat that really stands out for the AUG is its muzzle velocity, coming in with the highest figure of 670 meters per second. This again plays into the accuracy of this weapon, since you're not going to have to lead your targets very much with your bullets going exactly where you point this weapon. I've got mixed feelings about the recoil of this weapon. On paper the stats seem pretty bad. We've got a moderate upwards recoil value and quite high side to side recoil, which sounds like this weapon could be quite hard to control. But in reality I find it's quite easy to use. I don't know whether it's that slightly slower fire rate which doesn't allow the weapon to get out of control, or whether that higher accuracy just kind of negates the effects of those high recoil values and still results in your shots landing where they're supposed to. As with all weapons in Battlefield, it will drift off out of control under any prolonged fire, but if you carefully burst this weapon you will find that you can quite easily get multiple shots bang on target. The magazine size of the AUG comes in with a full 30 rounds, which is the usual figure for the assault rifles, but as we've discussed, being a bullpup configuration does mean the reload time is pretty slow, clocking in at 2.5 seconds or 3.1 seconds from totally empty. This is by no means super slow, as it's not really that far behind some of the standard layout weapons, but it's nothing compared to the likes of the M416 with its 1.8 second reload time. So the AUG is a fantastic weapon to use out to medium to long ranges. That increased accuracy over the standard rifles really helps out by getting those shots on target without being punished too much by shooting while strafing from side to side. And I think my preferred setup with this weapon would be to definitely go with the ergo grip to increase the ADS accuracy even more. Then I guess it's a trade-off between whether you go with the compensator to reduce that side-to-side recoil, but in turn sacrifice some of that accuracy. If you find yourself quite easily controlling that recoil, I'd recommend just leaving the stock barrel and playing to this weapon's strengths as a super high accuracy rifle. I'd be interested to compare this weapon with the new L85, but at the time of recording this video the stats for that weapon and the other China Rising or second assault weapons aren't yet available. But still, because of those built-in characteristics plus the good stats all round, my overall rating for the AUG is a 4 out of 5. If only this weapon didn't have such high side-to-side recoil, it would have been exceptionally deadly with its ability to land shots with pinpoint accuracy. As it stands though, you do need to kind of sacrifice some of that accuracy to tame that recoil with the use of either the muzzle brake or the compensator. But let me know your thoughts on the AUG down in the comments. What setup do you tend to run with this weapon? Are you a fan of the bullpup designs, or do you find yourself just sticking with the traditional rifle layouts? If you are a fan of the AUG, or if you just enjoyed my video or even learned anything new, then I'd really appreciate a thumbs up just to help spread the word and share the video with your friends. If you want to see more of my Battlefield 4 weapon reviews, don't forget to click the link in the description to the full playlist to check back on all the episodes that I've posted already. Otherwise, thanks for watching, I'll catch you all later.